Okay, so some of you might have already seen this. You're gonna be like, "Is this a redo?" I'm like, "Yes, it's a redo because I wanna kind of remove something I had there the first time that I just, you know what? At the end of the day, I think it becomes unnecessary chaos. So I just want to get that out of the way. Let's redo this. So again, this is still intended for the beginners. Vlad, again, who requested it. It's for you there to go through all this. Um, So it's the Rosetta Stone converting from MBTI to Socionics. Okay. The goal here is really understanding the MBTI names. Okay. Which I'm presuming if you're watching this, you're already familiar with the MBTI stuff to some degree. You kind of understand MBTI, uh, the letters, the nomenclature, and so on, and have some grasp on the functions at play. Okay. That was the other one. Okay, so on the left side, we have the MBTI names, ENTP, INTP, SFJ, ISFJ, etc., going down. Here in the middle, this is the significant part. This is the meat and potatoes. This is the holy grail. This is what matters. Everything else is irrelevant compared to this. Okay, it's about the function stack. Okay, now in MBTI people, these here, okay, NETIFE, you call them functions. Socionics, we call them elements. Okay. Function stands for something else in socionics. Save it for another time. Okay. So, as I said, this part here is what's important. This is what always translates across, regardless of whatever systems you're playing with. It's understanding what functions, or excuse me, elements, are being used by the type and are valued by the type. Keyword being valued. Socionics is all about which elements are valued. Okay. So here, if you look at this, you go across ENTP, NETIFE, SI, right? The type in socionics is an ILE. Over here, INTP, we have TINESIFE. The type, the name in socionics is LII. ESFJ, FESI, and we get ESE. Okay, and you see the pattern as it goes. It's just going from left to right. This here is the official names you tend to see in socionics, every kind of socionics, whatever model you're playing with socionics, whether that's model A, model G, model B, model T, they pretty much, they're all using this. Okay. Sometimes they will have a human name like Dumas and Don Quixote and like all this kind of stuff, which is very out of the Russian thing. But yeah, listen, don't even worry about those names. Most of the time it's not used as often. So this is what you're playing with right here. This is your little cheat sheet to figure it out. Now you notice here, quadras. Quadras are an important thing in socionics. It's critical to socionics. You will hear about quadras sometimes being imported into MBTI or other Jungian type things. Okay, so you'll see alpha quadrant, beta quadrant, gamma quadrant, delta. There is no order to them. It's not ranked in any way. So because you have alpha, alpha is not in any way higher or better than beta or beta than gamma, nothing. Okay, they're just names to differentiate the different quadrants. Now the word quadrant, quadra for four. So you have four types and four quadras for all 16. They're all grouped in this way because if you notice, all four of the types in this quadra share the same elements. Okay, they all value these elements. These elements are important to those individuals. The only difference is the order in which they're valued. That's it. ENTP really loves NE. That is their base element. Okay? ISFJs, as you see here, still have NE. They still value NE. They're just not good at it, but they value it. Okay, they care about it. Okay, and the same goes for everybody here. Look at it carefully. They all use the same stuff. That's why they come together and they form the same quadrant. These types are going to get along very well with each other because at the end of the day, they all value and want the same general things out of life. Okay? They just go about achieving those things in a different way because they're prioritizing different skill sets, let's call it. Okay? The skill of NE, the skill of SI, the skill of FE. Right? Kind of what I mean there. And if you go down the list, you see more of the same. Beta quadra, same thing. Okay, everybody here sharing the same elements. They all value the same things. They're all driven and motivated. They're all more or less speaking the same language. And on and on and on it goes. Okay. So quadras is a huge thing. It's one of the things that we really look for in socionics. We often try to figure out a person's quadra first. Which one do they belong to? Which are these elements that they seem to be interested in? And then once you figured that out, then you start trying to narrow down, okay, which one of the members of that quadra? Okay, is it one of the more extroverted types? Is it one of the more introverted types? One of the more feely? Is it about the clubs? Whatever. Right? But first or typically you want to figure out what quadra they're in first. Okay. Okay, so you have that. Again, crossing stuff out there because there's a whole debate and issue, and I honestly think it's just not, there's a whole thing there. It's just like, it's not even worth it. This is what you should be focusing in on right here. Okay. You got the functions that never change, the value functions. And then here, they're actual names in socionics. Okay. What about these little letters? So where are all these letters coming from? Why is it L-I-E and I-L-I? Why is it only 3 letters instead of 4 letters? Well, here's a little key down here, socionics letters. L is basically thinking in MBTI. L stands for logic. So whoever has an L is some kind of a logical type of some sort, some kind of thinking type. If it's an E, that's feeling. E stands for ethics. It's what it's called in socionics, ethics. So there's some kind of a feeling type. I, some kind of intuitive type. S, some kind of sensing type. Okay, so examples here, SLE, you have a sensing logical extrovert. Okay, sensing for the S, L, it's logical. And then we throw in an extrovert or an introvert at the back of that, just to let you know what kind of sensing is it. Extroverted sensing. So it's SE right here, right? ESTP, SLE, SE. Okay. ILI, okay, you have an intuitive, then logical. And what kind of intuitive logic? An introverted. Introverted intuitive. Same over here. EII. So we have ethical, intuition, or intuitive, introvert. So it's a feeling. What kind of feeling? It's an introverted feeler. And then they have intuition as the second value function behind it. Okay. This is kind of the basics of how this piece works. I do have other videos that go into more of the structure of socionics, the model A structure, which is the classical model, the one most widely used, that kind of forms the basis of socionics. It is not the only model. There's others like Model G and things like that. There's Model B, there's Model T, there's Model V at this point, there's Model everything. Okay, but Model A is kind of the original kind of classic that most people operate from. In socionics, they pay attention to all 8 functions, meaning instead of looking at an ENTP having only these 4 functions, which is what you see here in MBTI, socionics will list out all functions within the ENTP. Okay, this NETIFESI thing is really only demonstrating the value functions, the ones that the ENTP really cares about. The ENTP is capable of using other functions, like all this over here, like SE and it has all those too, but they don't value, and that's the difference. Okay, so that's a different conversation to talk about what is valued versus unvalued, and why that's significant, why that makes a huge difference in socionics and in typing. But for now, this is the kind of the straightaway thing. Okay. Again, hopefully this is better. This kind of clears it up, corrects one of the little glitches, let's call it, I had there. And again, for a lot of the newbies and so on, let me know what you think of this.